Hey everyone, welcome back to Specialness. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Kim.
And we're very excited today.
We're very excited.
Because in the history of Specialness, in its long and illustrious history, we have not had a guest on the show. And today we're going to have our first guest.
Yes. And she's a good one.
Yeah. And lucky for us, she's a celebrity.
That's right.
Because she is very close to becoming a world-renowned speaker.
That's right.
And I'm going to go ahead and call her celebrity. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce our new friend, Julia Erman, live from East Tennessee. Hi, Julia.
Hi, Julia.
Hi.
So, Julia, I am sure that a lot of people who are listening to this know of you or may even follow you and know your story. But for those that aren't, we're really excited to have you tell it. And I want to start, I thought we could start kind of at the beginning of kind of when you and Aaron got married and how you thought your life was going to go.
Right.
So tell us about Aaron and how long you guys been married and a little bit about your relationship.
Yeah, so Aaron and I have celebrated the wrong wedding anniversary a few times. So I think we've been married 14 years.
Okay, I won't hold you to it.
That's right.
And that's not a lie. We have celebrated the wrong wedding anniversary. But we met, and right after we met, I went off to Nepal and was doing some philanthropy work. And so the bulk of our dating was actually over FaceTime.
Oh, wow.
And we fell in love over FaceTime. And I kept telling these girls that I was in Nepal with, in this little village, I'm like, I'm going to marry this guy. I'm going to go home and marry him. And they're like, you haven't even kissed him yet. And I'm like, I don't care. And that's how Aaron and I started.
Wow.
I got home, we got engaged, and we got married.
Did he just meet you at the gate with a ring, or what? Or how did that?
He met me at the gate with red roses because it was Valentine's Day.
Oh.
And I got home, and we had our first kiss on Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's so sweet.
My goodness.
Princess story.
Yes.
This is
it was a couple months after I was home that we got engaged.
Okay, well,
but it was pretty fast.
That is fast.
I mean, I don't think I've ever met anyone who fell in love over FaceTime.
I don't think I have either.
How long were you in Nepal while this was going on?
So I was in Nepal for 5 months. And I was only supposed to be there 3 months. And when I told Aaron I was extending my trip, that almost was the deal breaker.
Ooh.
He said he almost had to come and get me in Nepal. But I was there working with kids, and it was like, oh my gosh, that's a story for another day. But it was 14 months from when we met till we got married. And I want to say it was love at first sight, but his shoes were just not the kind of guy I would marry. He was wearing weird shoes.
Okay, well, hold on.
I didn't really like him when I first met him. Took a while.
Wait, hold on. His shoes. What were his shoes?
See, I'm not picky about clothes, but he was wearing like high top Converse, and that's just not my style.
You mean like Chuck Taylor's?
That's exactly what he would say.
Oh my gosh, what
I
color?
wore Chuck Taylor.
What color? Because that says a lot about Aaron.
They were white, and they were very dirty.
That is so classic.
But that's what you used to wear?
I did. I actually had some that would go up to almost to my knee.
Not that high.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did, because they rolled down.
Oh, they did roll down.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
All right, Julia, I'm glad you came around. That's a keeper.
Yeah,
right
we
there.
weren't quite sure, and then we were actually at his cousin's 21st birthday party, like a family birthday. His cousin's actually is the famous one. I don't know if you've ever heard the song, "Thank you for the happiest year of my life." If you haven't, go on Instagram after that. Anyway, that's his cousin. We were at his birthday party, and then just the veil came off of my eyes, and I was like, this is going to be the father of my children.
Okay.
And that's how I knew I was going to marry him. And it was pretty quick. And then I went to Nepal.
Hey, thanks for watching Specialness. We really appreciate you taking time to watch our podcast, and we hope it's helping you out. If you could do us a favor and subscribe, it would really help us a lot to grow our community. Thanks a lot. And so the plan was we're going to have a family and like everyone, right? Like everyone, oh, we're going to have a perfect family and it's going to be great. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we got married and we were the couple people hated because we actually liked each other.
Yep.
And we got along really well and we spent our weekends rock climbing and we lived on a small lake in Washington State at the time. Like we had a house on the lake.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's a beautiful part of the country.
It was pretty perfect. And I remember we sat in this couples group one time and I'm looking around. I'm like, what is wrong with people? Nobody likes their spouse, like, except for Aaron and I. We're just, hanging out, canoeing every weekend with our coffee and climbing and camping and all the things. And I was working my dream job. I was running a preschool and an after school program. I had 56 people reporting to me at one time, and I was in my 20s.
Jeez, that's a big school.
My mother-in-law's best friend was one of my employees.
Oh, wow.
Very strange. And I was experiencing a lot of success in that job. It was right down the street. We were living the perfect life. And we were married for 5 years until we had Hazel.
Okay.
So we had this 5 years of just
bliss.
Yes.
Yeah.
While the rest of our friends were like, did we marry the wrong person?
Well, depending on what shoes you wear, you never know if you end up with the right person.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Hazel Rose comes along 2017. And tell us a little bit about that, because I know there, what would later be revealed wasn't revealed then. So what was it?
Yeah.
Tell us about those first 3 years with Hazel.
Yeah. So we found out that we were pregnant and we had a glorious pregnancy journey. No complications. We had a midwife. We were going to do the all natural thing. We're like this perfect couple. So now I just laugh and I'm like, oh, it's so yeah. But we went to the hospital to deliver Hazel with our midwives. And actually, funny story about Hazel's birth is that my water broke at home and Aaron never believes me. Do you guys have that problem? I don't know.
No.
And I told him, I stood up, my water broke. I'm like, my water just broke. And he's like, no, it didn't. I'm like, get down there and smell. I did not pee my pants.
Okay.
I made him smell the carpet.
Okay.
Sure enough, my water broke.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's proof.
Isn't he an EMT?
He's a paramedic.
And he still didn't believe you?
He still didn't believe me. He thought I just peed my pants. So, so we go into labor with Hazel.
Is that something you had done before?
Yeah.
Had you peed your pants before?
No.
Was there a reason to doubt this?
Right.
No.
Okay.
So we go into labor with Hazel. Everything's perfect. We're not going to go through the nitty gritty on that. But
sure. Yeah.
we waited to find out if we were having a girl till our birth. And the midwives had agreed to let Aaron kind of deliver her. And so he pulls this baby out and they sit her on my chest. But the whole time we don't know, is this a boy or a girl? And, we're looking up and we're like, well, Aaron, what is this baby you just pulled out of me? What is it? And he took her legs and, it was like looking and he says the story so funny because he's like just waiting. So I have 4 brothers. He's one of 4 boys.
Oh gosh.
And he's just like, well, where's the male parts? Not that's a girl.
Right.
He's like, something's missing.
Didn't put the stem on the apple.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then immediately was just so emotional and overwhelmed that we couldn't believe that it was a girl. That he couldn't even speak the words to me to tell me it was a girl. The midwife had to tell me. And it was pretty exciting. We were shocked that she was born a girl.
Well, and that's a beautiful, idyllic story that everyone loves to hear and hopes to have. And then there was some immediate issues, right?
Yeah. Well, so Hazel was actually born perfect. Her APGAR scores were perfect. She stayed one night in the hospital with us, and then we took her home. The only thing was the doctors want us to get her bilirubin rechecked the next day. It was just a tiny bit elevated, which is a normal baby thing.
Sure.
So we took her home to our little tiny cabin, and overnight she started acting a little bit funny. She was arching her back a little bit. And so I did what any good mom would do. First time mom is I take my baby book out and I'm flipping the pages and I'm like, okay, back arching. She's got gas for sure.
Right,
Gas.
right.
Okay. And, yeah, we started to see a few things wrong overnight, but none of it was cueing to like, there is a major issue. It was just like, well, this is going to resolve. We're going to take her in tomorrow. It's normal baby stuff. And we woke up the next day and I just kind of looked at my husband and immediately like had this rushed feeling. I was like, I think we need to take her to get her bilirubin checked like now, like sooner than later, because she was acting a little bit lethargic. And our cabin was like kind of dark. And so we got her out and we were going to take her into the car and go to the hospital. And we still weren't panicked yet. But we get her into the daylight and she was pale. And so immediately I kind of knew something was wrong. I sat with her in the car in the back on the way to the hospital, but I still didn't know, I just thought, oh, this is baby stuff. Like babies get sick, bilirubin, I don't know, like doctors are going to fix it. And we get checked in at the hospital for the doctor to take a look at her. And the NICU doc came down and looks at Hazel, and Hazel stops breathing.
Oh, gosh.
And she grabs her out of my arms. And in an instant, my whole life stops. And what's going on around me is the doctor grabs Hazel, is running down the hall.
And that's the first time
I don't know up from down.
That's the first time that's happened. Like that never happened when you were at home and she was arching her back or whatever.
No.
She'd never stop breathing.
No.
Okay. Wow. Good timing on your part then.
Yeah, that she was in the hospital when that happened.
It was, Hazel's not supposed to be here, but it was a miracle. So the nurse grabs my hand because I'm like instantly, I don't even know what's going on. And is like, come down this way, come down this way. And I walk into a room and in an instant, I go from this is just my baby to, oh my gosh, there's, 5 or 6 people trying to save her life. Like she's dying. And in an instant, I went from the highest high that one could experience, like your brand new first baby. You cannot explain the love and the joy in that, to the lowest low of, oh my gosh, she's going to die.
And this is all within like 72 hours, 48 hours?
Yeah. It was like about day two of life. So, from there, we were kind of at a smaller hospital. So they, immediately intubated her and, called the ambulance and transported her to the bigger hospital. There's so many aspects to our story, some that I don't share a lot, but let me just hone in on this part of the story. Is imagine being a brand new mom. In an instant, you're now thinking my child's dying, and you have to get in your own car with an empty car seat, and your child is without you and they're 2 days old.
Right. That's hard.
Horrific does not describe the pain in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband and I, we got in the car and we drove to the hospital and we checked into the NICU and we walk into a room. And by then they had stabilized Hazel and she was connected to every machine that you can imagine. And we sat there and cried. Yeah.
I mean,
that's the start.
Yeah, that's the start of the family. And from what I from what I gathered from talking with you and reading about this, it was never really revealed what the actual situation was with Hazel.
Yeah.
You didn't find that out until your second pregnancy. Really.
Yeah. So she wasn't diagnosed with anything till she was 4.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to, I'm sure. But they thought, this is an infection. And so her whole room was like shut off. You gotta gown up.
Oh.
Which actually ended up being a blessing, because in this particular NICU we were in, a lot of it is co-space, but Hazel got her own room the whole time.
Oh, that's
because the doctors, they didn't know if she was going to live, and, because of the infection possibility. When we left the NICU.
How long were you in the NICU?
We were in the NICU exactly 30 days.
That's
which is
time.
So short.
Yeah, compared to
the stories I hear on a daily basis. Felt like an eternity. But when we were getting ready to go, we had one particular neurologist come down and, explain her last MRI in the NICU. And he looked at us and he said, she's got global brain damage. And I will never forget, I looked at him and I said, I know that brains can reroute. Is this a possibility for Hazel? And he looked at me deadpan and he said, where to?
Mm.
That is what we left the NICU with. No diagnosis. We knew our child's brain was mush. She could barely move. She had a feeding tube. And there really was no hope.
Mm.
I remember looking in the hallway at the NICU, which if you've been a NICU mom, you know this moment. If your NICU has this, there's a cork board where NICU graduates send in like pictures. And I remember looking at them and being like, wow, nice for them.
Success stories.
Yes,
yeah, nice for them. And thinking we're never going to have that. And then, in our 30 days stay there, we saw many parents leave with their kids and many leave without their kids.
Mm. That's hard.
And that was hard.
Yeah, that's very hard.
Survivor's guilt is something I don't talk about a lot, but that was really hard, watching moms and dads that we got to know leave and their child didn't get to go with them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So over the course of that 30 days, not only are you dealing with your own situation, you're kind of just by approximation, you're also living everyone else's journey as well.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yep.
But did Hazel have any more incidents like this over the next few years before your second pregnancy?
Yeah. So we took Hazel home from the hospital, and the first year of her life for me is very blurry. I think because of the grief that I was walking through. Good. But she was missing milestone after milestone after milestone, but yet also starting to do some things. And so we did a lot of therapy, we did a lot of testing, and, she turned 1 and she wasn't sitting up, she wasn't talking, she wasn't walking, but she could lift her head and she was making progress.
So at this point, did you consider yourself, I mean, you're probably still processing all this. Did you consider yourself a special needs parent at that point?
Yeah,
or were
I was
you
just going to ask that.
Were you still thinking something might change or any of those feelings, were they still there?
Yeah, birth to 1 is so interesting because of that. And I think about that a lot, and the way I describe my children has changed. Because spoiler alert, Hazel's 9, turning 9 in 2 weeks. And I don't think I yet really resonated with special needs mom. I think it took me a little bit longer to sort of, I was sort of like white knuckling and fighting against that. That's what I was jumping into. Because of our situation, everything was so unknown. I mean, I knew she had global brain damage. I knew she wasn't hitting milestones. But because we had no diagnosis, we didn't have a prognosis. Like, we didn't know what to expect that was coming next. And I think it wasn't, I feel like years 1 to 5, I really settled in and found identity, I guess, in, I'm a special needs mom.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was when Hazel hit a year. That's when I started writing my first book. I woke up one morning at 3 a.m. and I was just desperate for a way to tell my friends' typical kids, quote, why Hazel was 1 and she couldn't walk or talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's confusing.
Very.
It was confusing to me. It's confusing to these kids that I meet. And I needed a tool to help me. And because of my past in education, that's just kind of my sweet spot is kids. And I was desperate to explain. I at one point felt like, when they're birthed to 1, there's an interesting thing because unless you can visibly see their feeding tube or something special about them, you don't know.
You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. And I remember thinking, I want people to know. Like, this baby's not just screaming bloody murder, which both of my kids cried.
Yeah.
Cried and cried and cried and cried as infants.
Yeah. We know that.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I remember making a joke with my father-in-law one time saying, I just want a shirt. It says, yes, she's got special needs.
Yeah. Yeah, because you
So
get
it took some time to get there, but yeah.
Yeah, because you get all the looks and the stares from people that maybe you're not the best mom or what are you doing?
Well, we had a similar situation that if you didn't know Kason, you wouldn't know there was anything wrong with him.
Especially when he was younger.
And we were dealing with similar things. I mean, we didn't have hard diagnoses either for several years, but we were dealing with that same feeling. So you mentioned the 1 to 5. Well, in that period, you got pregnant again, and this settling in you're referring to of the 0 to 5 years of Hazel's life, you weren't done dealing with some difficult situations because your second pregnancy was in 2020.
I got pregnant in 2019.
Okay.
And Russell was born in 2020, all in the midst of COVID.
Yes.
And his story is one where the waters get a little muddy. So if you guys want to jump into the mud with us, so
that's why we're here.
That's right.
Yeah. We're here to jump into the mud.
That's right.
So we had kind of got our feet under us by this point. I think Hazel was like almost 3 when he was born or around there. We're like, okay, we're special needs parents. If anyone's gonna do this, it's gonna be us. Like, we got this, whatever. But we probably should have a child to take care of her.
So
come
no
at,
concerns.
Come at me in the comments.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was one of our thoughts is we need to have a sibling for
and
her.
you weren't concerned because you had no diagnoses. There was no reason to be concerned that this might happen again.
Yeah.
We were not only not concerned because we had no diagnosis, but we had been dismissed from children's genetics.
Well, of course. Okay.
Saying this is not genetic.
What was
we
their
knew in
reason?
the back of our minds it could still be, but we also knew if it is, it's a recessive gene and that's a 25% chance strike. And the chance that a 25% odd strikes twice is pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what was their reasoning, the genetics, to say this isn't genetics?
it just didn't line up with the things that they had tested for. Like everything was negative. There was one possibility, but the symptoms and the acid level of whatever didn't match.
Okay.
So yeah, we still had hope. I mean, we were young and
formidable.
Yeah, we're like, we're gonna have another kid.
Yeah.
This is hard, but we were built for hard and we're just gonna do this. So we get pregnant with Russell, and I had been having some symptoms for about a year and had been seen several times about these symptoms. And it wasn't until I say that part because Russell saved my life, is the spoiler. Wasn't until I went to the doctor to get my first ultrasound with Russell that they realized like what these symptoms were. So I find out I'm pregnant with Russell, and I go to the doctor and I'm telling them like all these symptoms that I'm having. And they're like, oh, it's this. Well, then over the weekend, like the head doctor is looking at all the paperwork and all the things and all the testing that they did to confirm whatever's going on. And it was negative to what they thought. And she's looking at, she calls me one night, Erin and I are out to dinner. And she's like, well, I'm just trying to make sense of all this because this isn't lining up all that's going on with you. And then you're pregnant. These are not pregnancy symptoms. I need you to come in tomorrow. So I go into this doctor's office. It was about an hour away from our house. We lived in a pretty small town. And
are you still in Washington at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
She goes in to do take kind of a biopsy. And because they'd done an ultrasound and the doctor had seen, oh, you have a polyp.
Okay.
So she goes in to kind of biopsy it. And immediately she is like, I'm going to send you for another ultrasound to look at it. And my very first ultrasound for Russell, he's like very little. Like, I don't know if he's 7 weeks at this time. Clear as day, anyone who knew what they were talking about or didn't could see that I had a mass, what come to find out, cancerous tumor hanging on the end of my cervix.
Oh my gosh.
And how I got pregnant with that, is also beyond me. But I'd had this mass growing. It was almost pushing into stage 2 cancer because of its size.
Oh my God.
And I had been visually examined 4 times before this doctor.
Wow.
With these symptoms, and it had been missed.
That's crazy.
Every single time. So Russell, his pregnancy saved my life. I'm convinced. So they, they call me with this diagnosis. I'm pregnant. I have a special needs kid at home. And I'll never forget the moment that they call me, and Aaron just so happened to be home. He's a paramedic. He works so many hours a week. He and I were home, and they're telling me this is endocarcinoma, some big long other word attached to it. And we're going to be referring you to an oncologist. And I was just like,
but I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
These are moments you can't make up. And the craziest part, I know we're focusing on sharing the special needs journey, but it's like my story can't be told without some of these pieces that are a part of the journey.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's like, you go in life in this moment where it's like, you don't have cancer. And then in a second, well, now I have cancer. It is the weirdest thing. Aaron and I both looked at each other after the phone call, and he was like, I think I need to go for a drive. And I'm like, yeah, I think I need you to go for a drive because I just need to be by myself. And I called my one friend who had been through hard stuff, and I wept on the phone with her. So we had a big journey ahead with Russell. We met with the oncologist. They did a cone biopsy and a lymph node removal, and they did not get clean margins. And so plenty of times they did try to get us to abort Russell, but our decision was to keep him. We felt like he was our baby. We wanted to keep him. His life was just as important as mine.
Now, if you don't mind my asking, what were the reasons that they were giving?
Yeah, they wanted us to abort him because if we didn't have the pregnancy to deal with, they could have just gone right in for a hysterectomy and then we don't have to worry about the cancer.
I see. Okay.
But when you have 8 extra months for that cancer to grow and you already have a very large tumor, it's concerning.
Yeah, okay.
As to how fast that could be growing.
It was more to protect you.
Me.
Kind of,
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So we had a great team of doctors and we decided to do chemo while I was pregnant. And let me just tell you, my very first day ever away from Hazel was sitting in a chemo chair. And I remember thinking, this is really weird that I'm kind of enjoying this.
Yeah.
Because I have this super high need kid. Hazel was a kid that, and still is. If you are in the room, she's here.
Mm-hmm.
She is like a puppy.
Attached
and she's just
to
with you all the time. And it's not ever an easy way. It's like she needed to be held or she needed to be fed and like so high needs. And so I remember my first infusion was 6 hours long and I just sat there in the silence and I read, I journaled, I listened to music. And yeah, that was the season.
What an odd blessing as a result of
it's
having
really weird.
Cancer.
So yeah. So Russell and I, we did the 4 rounds of chemo and I lost all my hair.
Yeah.
He was born at 35 weeks via C-section and we got to meet him. And I remember telling the doctors before the surgery, because they were going to do a C-section and then we would meet him and then Aaron and Russell would go out and I would have a radical hysterectomy. And I remember telling them, you know, one of the traumas that I had with Hazel was the fact that I couldn't breastfeed her because of her special needs. She had low muscle tone, the brain, you know, it just didn't work for her. She had reflux. And I really wanted that joy with my second. And when they were planning for the hysterectomy, they were kind of 50-50. Are we going to take everything out or not? You know, do we leave the ovaries? So she's still, you know, I'm young at the time, 33 when I have Russell. And so we deliver Russell. He's perfect. He's normal, beautiful. And then I wake up from
no complications during the pregnancy.
Nothing. Yeah, everything's perfect.
And same when he was born. When he was born, he didn't have any issues at the beginning. Okay.
Nothing. Yeah. And then I wake up from this surgery and immediately I ask the nurse, I'm like, did they leave my ovaries? Because I really wanted to breastfeed him. And if you don't have ovaries, you can't, you know, really produce. And it also signified to me that the cancer wasn't as bad as they maybe thought. Because I told them, take whatever you need.
Oh, I see.
And they did. And I remember them rolling me into the room with Aaron and Russell was there at 35 weeks, no oxygen, needing nothing, normal, perfect baby. And let me just tell you, it was like our whole family just was like complete in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And until day 2 came around and I was holding Russell and his lip turned blue. And I didn't tell anybody because I remember the moment so crystal clear. I was just holding him and I saw his lip turn blue and I know what that means. It means the body's lacking oxygen. But I also knew what that meant as a mom, which meant taking my baby, separating me, which was the most painful part of having Hazel. It wasn't dealing with the brain damage or it was the physical separation from her. And I didn't think I could do that again. And that probably lasted a minute or two, but felt like eternity.
Yeah.
And I turned to Aaron and I said, his lip turned blue. I think there's something going on. And in the nurses came down. They grabbed him. They brought him up to the NICU. And me, post-hysterectomy, C-section, am getting in a wheelchair. Aaron's pushing me up there, and we are yet again standing over his bed, watching him have seizure after seizure after seizure, which is what was going on with Hazel. Knowing this is what Hazel has.
It's happening again.
Telling the doctors, this is what our daughter has. And them having to wait because they can't just start administering seizure medication. They're going to hook up an EEG. They're going to confirm seizures. They're going to, as Aaron and I are standing there, seeing our whole world just fall apart. You know, the hit with Hazel was hard. The hit with Russell was, it was, I mean, more than double.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only was it going from one kid with, you know, what we didn't know was this disability at the time, to two, we also had given up our ability to ever have
more children,
a child. Yeah. That was what we had always dreamt of. A child who would play with dolls, learn soccer, have sleepovers, grow up and out of the house, get married, have grandkids. Yep. So it was like so much coupled into his story that really just wrecked what we thought our life was going to be.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of special needs families or moms and dads can relate to that because nobody, and Jeff and I say this all the time, nobody prepares when you get pregnant to have a special needs child. I mean, it's not there. And, you know, like we've said with our story, with having to adopt, you know, we specifically even said, we can't accept this, but we can accept everything else. And then this is what happens, you know, but in our minds, you're still planning to have a healthy child and to have those dreams, like you said, to go to the soccer games and to do those things. And no parent ever signs up for this, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's a huge life-altering situation.
Well, I tell you, one of the things that I'd like to ask your insight on, because we get a lot of comments on our reels about how hard life is, how so many people feel like they have to find a way to get hopeful, and I know we're gonna talk about that later. But at this moment, you are, and paint a picture again. You're in a wheelchair. You don't have any hair. You've just had a hysterectomy. You've been through cancer treatments, and you're looking at your child in the NICU who is just revealed it's happening again. Mm-hmm. I mean, was that where, did you hit bottom there? Was that where, I mean, that's just a lot to come back from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, I feel like in my grief journey, I hit bottom when Hazel was probably 1. And my husband hit bottom after Russell.
Mm.
Well,
and
because
that was really
like
hard.
You said, there were the dreams of this is going to be our child who's going to help, be a playmate, going to help us with our daughter.
Yeah.
It's just it's a crushing of all your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. That's a lot to come back
and
from.
there wasn't, I mean, the hope that we had in that moment was driving home from the hospital an hour every night and seeing Hazel's smiling face. That was the hope we had. Hazel from birth has always had a superpower gift of joy.
Mm.
There's not a room that she walks into that doesn't immediately light up. Mm. Russell has a different story.
He has a different superpower.
Right.
Yes, he has a different superpower. We're still learning, but yeah, there's just so much. It's like I just want to tell every parent who's listening, who's walking through this, just buck up. It's going to be good. It's going to be great, and you're going to have joy, and like you were made for this, and all the horrible things people have told us and you guys.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, this is going to be really hard. You're not going to think you're going to make it. You might not make it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You're not equipped. Your marriage is going to be stressed to the max. And getting yourself back, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it will come. And when I mentioned in the beginning, the 5 years of like how my brain sort of wrapped around this identity of special needs parenting to child with disabilities. There's so many different words that people choose to hold on to. Yeah, I really think it took me 5 years to find the joy.
Well, good for you. I mean, a lot of people can't find the joy.
Right.
A lot of people struggle to find the joy ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, we've been burying the lead here because around the time Hazel was 4, you actually finally got the diagnosis for what your children were battling. And that, I definitely want to hear about that, because I can't imagine that wasn't where I would bounce.
Rock bottom.
Yeah.
So when after we had Russell, we knew their disorder, whatever it is the same. And we now had another human being to test. So they took skin from Russell's arm and they swabbed Aaron and I and Hazel. And they did a full genetic panel on all of us. And it turns out that they share, they have 2 variants on the same gene. Well, I have 1 variant on that gene, and my husband has 1 variant on that gene. It's the LIAS gene. And so our kids were officially diagnosed. It's called NKH. It stands for non-ketotic hyperglycemia.
Yes.
But there are different types of NKH. And ours is, they're all rare. Like, I think there's 400 cases of NKH. Don't quote me on that.
Globally or in the United States?
Yeah, globally.
Oh,
globally.
my gosh.
That's crazy.
But the specific type our kids have is variant form that is found on the LIAS variant. There are like 6 to 8 documented cases ever.
That's so insane.
And you've got 2 of them.
And I've got 2 of them. And the thing about it is it's a fatal disorder. It's not, it's sometimes fatal. This is always fatal. In fact, most kids die by 10 days. If they survive the 10-day mark, the average lifespan is 3 to 5 years. And Russell is 6 and Hazel's turning 9.
So they're already beating the odds.
So, I mean, I spent the first 8 years of this journey, because the journey for me started when Hazel was born, preparing for the last day. Anticipatory grief, wondering what will this look like? And then now, as I look out at them and I see them thriving and healthy, they have an array of challenges, which we can talk about as well. But I see my mind shifting in the last 6 months to not when is their last day, but wow, what will their life be like?
Right.
Continuing on, because they've already defied the odd.
Mm-hmm.
There is 1 documented case of their specific type who's outlived Hazel.
Wow.
Okay, gosh.
So we are, as our doctor quote said, pioneering the path, but you don't really want to pioneer this path.
Right.
That's what he says.
That's a lot to carry. I one of the things that Kim and I dealt with early on, not nearly to this extent, but some of the medications that Kaysen has to take over time are going to damage his organs irreparably. And we were told early that we needed to possibly be prepared that we would outlive Kaysen. Now, that's a lot for anyone to live with, but we weren't told his life expectancy is 5
Right.
or 11. I mean, that is an extreme example. And I know everyone in our community is dealing with one of two things. They're either dealing with, how will my kids survive when I'm gone?
Yeah.
Or they're saying, how will I survive without my kid?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.